Hi, my name is Megan Peterman, and I'm a Michigan-based composer and pianist. I don't think I have formally introduced myself here on this channel, so I am braving being in front of the camera with some exciting news about one of my original piano solos, Namaskara. If you've seen any of the other videos on my channel, you've probably heard snippets of this, but I have recently finished it, sheet music and all. That part takes me the longest. And I wanted to come on here today and talk about the imagery behind this piece and where the idea came from. So last semester, I decided to go back to school to once again pursue music in my 30s. I had started college many years ago, but ended up switching my major to something that would provide me more stability short term, and so my career went a different direction. Take two, someone wanted to be on camera with their mom. But I always felt like had a piece missing in my life, and since I've returned to playing piano and writing music again, I feel like I'm getting some of those pieces back. So that's been a huge journey. Now for Namaskara, the first class I took at Berkeley was called Film Music 101. Super fun class, really enjoyed it. One of our first assignments was to write a program note depicting some sort of like story or scene, and then we write and record a piece of music that went with it and hit all the beats in the program note. So that's where this idea kind of started formulating. I got the kind of story that I wanted to write a piece of music to from a yoga session where the yoga teacher was talking about moon salutations and how they're kind of the yang to the more commonly known sun salutations. And if you're not, into yoga or whatnot, the salutations are just like a sequence of yoga poses that kind of flow together that are done in honor of the sun or moon. And how she had kind of explained it is that moon salutations can be kind of done in response to sun salutations, kind of like a call and response, or also a question and answer in musical terms. And I thought that would be a really cool idea about writing something that's like the sun and moon maybe having this kind of playful banter back and forth as the sun is rising and the moon is setting, so at dawn. So that's where my mind kind of started. And then eventually I wanted to add in this kind of watery element to it because I had this imagery in my head that I wanted this to be happening over a lake. Yoga also really inspired the title for this piece as well, Namaskara, which is a more formal version of Namaste. That's Sanskrit for I bow to you. It's a very common greeting in yoga. Also often interpreted as the light in me honors the light in you. And I thought that greeting was appropriate for how the sun and moon might pass the day and night off to each other, only seeing each other twice a day. The entire intro is meant to sound kind of like the world is waking. Critters are emerging from the leaves and trees and stretching their little arms. The moon is maybe a little reluctant to go while the sun rises higher and brighter throughout the whole piece. It eventually culminates in this really grandioso part, and the ending is very tranquil as the world settles into its rhythm for the day. I try establishing the voices for the sun and moon very early on in the introduction, and you'll hear these themes reoccur throughout the whole piece. Sometimes in the same order, not always. Sometimes they're in tandem, sometimes it's a few beats later. kind of how a typical conversation might go with a friend or family. So that's a little bit of backstory behind the inspiration for Namaskara. But on to my exciting news. The whole reason I'm on here is this Friday, December 12th at midnight, Namaskara will be released to pretty much every major streaming platform. This is my first original musical piece ever published out into the world like this, so big milestone in my book and something I have been working towards for many, many, many years. And I really appreciate anyone who takes the time and takes a listen to Namaskara. It means so much to me that there might be anyone willing to spend a few minutes listening to something I created. And I really hope it brings maybe some tranquility or hopefulness to your day, because that's certainly what it invokes in me. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble on here today, and thank you so much for listening to Namaskara. Successful. Hi.